Here at home, it is no secret that millions of Canadians eat more unhealthy foods than their doctors would like. Now the federal government is taking action to increase awareness. Ottawa will require new food labeling on several ingredients. CBC's Catherine Cullen is on the story. She joins me live from our nation's capital. What more do you know about these regulations, Catherine?
Well, Suhanna, it means that when folks go into the grocery store, maybe not right away, this is something that's going to take a few years to roll out, but they are going to see something a little bit different on the packages of some of their food. This is front of package labeling. It's just supposed to be one sort of little marker that's quite clear and easy to see on the top 50% of the package, which says this food is high in either sugar, sodium, or saturated fat. The idea is, as you say, to get Canadians eating a little bit better, that it will provide them with information that can help them make healthier food choices. We know that the things that I talked about, sugar, sodium, saturated fat, are connected to problems like diabetes, heart disease, for instance. So the government trying to inform people a little bit better. We should say, though, two very important things. One, the timeline for all of this, that the government is not putting this in place. They're giving food manufacturers, producers until 2026, January 1st, 2026, to get this in place. They're saying that will allow food producers to spread out any cost to changing the packaging over the course of several years. Even gives them the option of actually changing the food. So if your product was going to be high in sodium, do you want to change how it's made so it doesn't have that front of package labeling on it? The other thing to say is that there are a lot of exceptions. Fruits, vegetables, dairy products, meat, many of these things have exceptions, even if they are high in saturated fat, high in naturally occurring sugars. They're the kinds of things that doctors and the federal government would like Canadians to be eating, so they will not have this front of package labeling on it.
And one product in particular, ground beef, also ground pork, very contentious. What's the story there?
Well, there certainly has been some controversy in the lead up to all of this, because initially ground beef and ground pork were going to be included on products that receive this front of package labeling, not other cuts of the meat, but specifically the ground versions of it. And that had ranchers quite concerned, saying that this was going to cause people to turn away from their product, even though, in their view, it was in line with what the government wanted to do. Nobody is sitting around and eating a package of raw ground beef. They are cooking at home the kinds of whole foods that, you know, doctors would like to see people eating. So there was a real push on, yes, from groups like the Canadian Cattlemen's Association, from provincial governments in Alberta and Saskatchewan. We know MPs here in Ottawa, particularly with the Conservatives, the Bloc Québécois, that weighed in to try to get Health Canada to back off on this particular plan, and they were successful. And so a lot of groups representing the meat industry sort of quietly celebrating today that they are not going to have this new labeling on the front of their product. In general, again, for Canadians who might be on the lookout for this, though, it's not necessarily something that you're going to see, well, it's almost certainly not something you're going to see next week or even next month. While companies can roll it out sooner rather than later, they're not obligated to do this until 2026.
We will talk again. CBC's Catherine Cullen in Ottawa.